and as we've discussed at the last several meetings, the property tax levy, at the end of the day, we are levying essentially the same amount as last year.
Correct.
And that would be the first time in at least 10 years, if not longer, that we haven't extended our levy, added
Correct.
CPI on top of the levy.
That is correct.
Okay. So, and we're taking that extraordinary step because why?
Because we're also going to be receiving the property tax relief grant. So one of the second thing that you're going to approve beyond the property tax levy is you are going to accept a property tax relief grant. That is the second thing that you will approve. And then you will approve an abatement for 2 years. So the property tax relief grant that you will receive is $2 million at the very bottom there. And you will abate $2,123,458 for 2 years, the 2024 levy and the 2025 levy. And with that, that kind of gets us back to flat levy, but still increasing revenues in order to keep up with the cost of the district.
And it's still true that we've kept our total levy relatively flat for the last, is it 5 years?
6 or 7 at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for those of us that don't know, all the rules and nuances of Cook County system as well as you do, at the end of the day, it's the total dollar amount that matters. It determines what someone's going to pay ultimately.
Yes, but at the same time, because assessments vary year to year, the district can't guarantee that the individual property tax bills will go up or down or remain flat. The only thing we can control is the total levy, and
Yep.
we are looking to hold that flat. What happens to the individual bills, that's going to be a process on the Cook County assessor and the Cook County clerk's offices.
Okay. And the income or the property tax increase that Ms. Trop referred to earlier, that's nothing within our control, correct?
Correct. Well, anything beyond what we're doing now.
Right.
is
We're
out of
not,
our
we're not
control.
increasing what we're asking taxpayers to
Correct.
pay.
Correct.
And that increase is a result of a shift from commercial to residential property in general across the Southland, correct?
That was a large part of the increase last year, yes.
Okay. Any questions from the board about the tax levy?
Not at this time.
Anything you guys feel we need to reiterate or cover for the public?
No, I appreciate your questions, though.
Thank you for reiterating the questions from the public comment.
Okay.
And I did have questions from another property tax resident, and I spent some time on the phone with him and some other emails back and forth.
I did get an email from Mr. Darguzas 3 minutes before here my meeting started. He has suggested that, he says, because of our declining property population, does that mean, I'm rephrasing it here, but does that mean our sort of per capita spend has increased? Let's start with number of students. Well, we've had years where we've gone up and down.
Yeah, we're down about 30 total.
Compared to what?
I would say to being up. We were projecting, I think back in maybe 17, 18, we were projecting to be somewhere around 2,000 students about now.
Mm-hmm.
COVID hit, housing flipped, and we're sitting just at 2,300. So we are where we should be, if not a little bit up. If anything, Parker might be down a smidge, but Western Avenue is holding more students than they have in the past.
Okay.
Now, I've been here 13 years, and that's, I mean, we were more back then.
It's the highest.
But we've been pretty steady, I'd say, for the last 5 years or so, we've been holding.
To the best you can remember, I don't know, what's the highest total number of students we've had in the district?
I want to say it was around 2,500 to 2,600.
Okay. And that would have
I
been
think
like
that was about when I came in, it was about 2,500 to 2,600.
10 to 12 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And currently we're at 2,300?
Yep, rounding, 2296. But I will say, we have a staffing report speaking specifically about the 25-26 school year later in this meeting that does recommend a decrease /hold of 3 staffing positions. So we are trying to respond to, as waves move through the different grade levels, just being responsive to those numbers.
Okay.
I'll also suggest that, I mean, per capita it's one way of looking at it, but the cost per cap have also increased, so, there's the flip side on that as well.
Right. There are state mandates for things that we have to spend money on that we didn't used to. I believe it's generally true across Illinois that per student cost has gone up greater than it has in our district.
I would have to look at that.
Okay.
I don't know.
But we're not, I don't think,
We're not high by any stretch of the imagination.
we didn't go up more than
No.
the average school district. All right. Any further questions?
No.
Okay. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing on the tax levy?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, the motion passes. The next item on our agenda, if we need it, is an executive session. Do any of the board members have questions about the residency issue that we would be voting on later today? You need to discuss an executive session.
I do not.
No.
Okay, so I don't think we need an executive session. And next up will be our committee reports for the Learning Instruction Committee.
Yeah, thank you for that. We had a Learning and Instruction Committee meeting in between tonight and our most recent Board of Education meeting. For the most part, we really spent our time discussing our data from the Illinois Assessment of Readiness, and then specifically which numbers are we focused on and why. We spent a lot of time not only digging through the individual pieces, but where are we really going. Had a lot of references to our board retreat that's coming up in January, and we did schedule another Learning and Instruction Committee meeting on Monday, December 16th at 5 o'clock, which will be at Normandy Villa, to continue that conversation, to try to bring as much data, kind of pull those pieces apart. We'll continue our Studer work as we're moving into the new year, but really wanted to focus on getting a perspective from the Learning and Instruction Committee just on metrics that we may want to use on a district scorecard moving forward. Trey, Michael, anything addition to that?
Yeah, I think you covered it, pretty well. I think, overall, we want to make sure that the implementation of the standards-based learning is going well and with fidelity. And I think we got input from the community on just questions. And we're going to continue to look at that work and how do we be supportive of that work, as a board.
When we started, rolling this out, we had some concern that, parents would be not necessarily upset, but just have a little trouble with the transition. Have we had a number of complaints, or has everything seemed to be going okay with that so far?
Not really. We've tried to really stagger communication, so starting with the webinar and then following up with a video before report cards come out, just so, and pieces of information along the way. Our two major checkpoints that we were watching for were, of course, the first report card going out, because it's completely different. We certainly had questions, not a ton of complaints at all about the first report card. We did put that video out there first to try and help parents get a feel for the report card before it arrived. And then our second major checkpoint, of course, was conferences, which just happened. And across the board, all of our schools' conferences went really well. We shared a list of resources, just a district-wide common list of at-home learning resources, so teachers weren't sort of making that up individually. And I think that really helped in just getting that communication out to parents before conferences, so parents had the information and teachers could focus on the actual learning during the actual conference appointments. But we've heard very little complaints or pushback at all, more just people wanting to make sure that they understand fully and best ways to support their children.
Okay. Next up on our agenda is the superintendent's report.
Yeah. Thank you, President Nelson, for the evening. I certainly appreciate that. Well, good evening, everybody. Certainly Board of Education members, but audience members in person and those who are streaming or watching at home. Really appreciate you joining us tonight, and I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Mr. Darguzis actually owes me a kugelis recipe, so I'll be waiting on that. We made a sort of a historical connection over the holiday. It was just always good to make those connections, identify some new things that you know about people. But we're in the final 3 weeks before winter break. There's certainly a lot going on in District 161. I certainly want to congratulate the Parker Lady Falcons 8th grade basketball team for winning their regional by beating Mokina Junior High last Tuesday evening. Snaps to them. I was there the night before where they won 50-17 against Park Forest, so really, really proud of the team. Now they move on to sectionals, where they're going to face Liberty Junior High from New Lenox. That will be on Wednesday, December 11th at 6:30 p.m. at Lukanzik Middle School, which is in Romeoville. If they win that game, they will then move on to the state tournament, and then there's just 2 wins remaining between them and the state title. If they do win next week, they'll play on Saturday, December 14th in Normal, Illinois. I just want to wish luck to our student athletes, their coaches, and their families as they continue just another great season in Falcon athletics. Again, seeing them play, they're certainly talented, but they have a lot of grit, a lot of toughness. It was just great to see how they come together as a team. Great fans, great parents cheering. It was grandparents. It was great. It was great. So we're really excited to see them next week. And then while the next activity isn't District 161's specifically, I do want to bring it to everyone's attention. Home at Flossmoor High School's annual Voyage to Excellence open house will be held this Thursday, December 5th. The event is for incoming freshmen, and it showcases the curricular and extracurricular programs offered at the school. There'll be a lot of information to share, along with access to administrators, teachers, coaches, you name it. We've advertised this event to our 8th graders at Parker, but one more reminder cannot hurt. I know that they've put a lot of work into preparing for this event, and we're excited to join them on Thursday evening. We do have a number of concerts and games between now and our next board meeting on the 16th, so I'll bring a number of updates about our students when we get together on December 16th for our final Board of Education meeting for the year. That's the end of my report.
Any questions?
No.
Next, we have our consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, including Personnel Report 25011, payroll for the month of November, the student-teacher placement agreement with Illinois State University, the FOIA request, and the donation from Bernie's Book Bank.
So moved.
Seconded.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, the motion passes. Next item on our agenda is bills for the month of December. Liz?
I reviewed the bills for the month of December, and I would like to make a motion to approve the bills in the amount of $838,656.59.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor, roll call? Well, it's Liz's motion, and we got 2 seconds.
Yes.
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 Yes, and the motion passes. Next, we have on our agenda, may I have a motion to approve the hearing officer's report for cases 2025 R1 and 2025 R2, declaring that the students in each of these cases are not residents of District 161, and direct administration to charge the appropriate tuition rate for each day the students were enrolled in District 161.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any questions?
No.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, and the motion passes. Next, may I have a motion to approve the snow removal bid from Desiderio Landscaping for the 2024-25 school year with the possibility of 2 rollover years?
So moved.
Seconded.
Questions?
No.
Roll call?
Yes.
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 Yes, and the motion passes. Next, may I have a motion to approve the Serena Hills classroom refresh bids at a construction cost of $2,732,142.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
No.
Roll call?
Yes.
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 Yes, the motion passes. Next, may I have a motion to approve the 2024 property tax levy as presented?
So moved.
Seconded.
Questions? Okay. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, and the motion passes. Next, may I have a motion to accept the 2025 property tax relief grant in the amount of $2,003,378.
So moved.
Seconded.
Questions? Roll call?
Yes.
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 Yes, and the motion passes. Next, may I have a motion to approve the resolution providing for abatement of 2024 and 2025 taxes in order to obtain the fiscal year 2025 property tax relief grant?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Roll call?
Yes.
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 Yes, and the motion passes. And our next item is a discussion item, classroom furniture.
Furniture to put in the buildings. So let's start with desks. Right there in the corner, those are the desks. They are ribbon-style desks. You can see they interlock together, and they have the boxes underneath them. They are adjustable height, so they will range from grade 1 right on up to grade 8. The tops will be this gray. The edges will be this navy. And the legs will be this lovely silver. Okay. The chairs, not working. There you go. Okay, on the left, we are going to be doing those chairs. Because they're the cantilever, you can like lift them up and put them right onto the desk, so it's easier for cleaning. They will also be in the same blue that is going on the edge of the desks. A lot of the teachers also asked for some of these swivel, the student stools, and actually they do not swivel. They move some. They're actually very sturdy. They do go up and down. The teachers were very interested in having them at their kidney table so that they could fit a few more students at the table. And also because a lot of our students kind of, we can do a little of this and it kind of helps them focus. So we're actually asking for 5 of those per classroom to go around the kidney tables, or the ARC tables, if you will. The kindergarten.
That's for all K through 5?
I'm sorry?
For all K through 5, or just?
It will be, no, kindergarten does not want them. Only 1 through 5.
A little too wiggly.
Yeah, little too much for those guys. Those guys get some special things though. The kindergarten tables, because they prefer the tables, will also be that ribbon shape, but they're in table form and they go all the way down to the ground. They'll be in the same color schematic as the desks. They will also get classroom sets of those wonderful cushions that you see pictured there on the right. And we're doing them in fun colors. We've got some chartreuse and tangerine, and I'll bring some of these. I'll let you guys see them later, but 2 of each color, kind of fun. The classrooms are also getting 1 set for doing, corner reads and those kinds of things. So there'll be 1 set of those in every classroom, except for kindergarten, we'll get full sets, full classroom sets. Go ahead. The teachers are looking at the desks, that desk there, so storage on both sides, and a storage unit, as you see on the right. Not all the teachers at Serena Hills will be receiving one of the storage units. They even said that they probably don't need it. Most of them have actual closets in their classrooms, so it really kind of varies depending on the classroom and what they have and don't have. The task chair on the left is what the teachers will be getting. It is also what you all will be getting, what we all will be getting. So those chairs are again in a lovely color blue called Ocean. So we're ordering those for all the teachers plus this building here. On the right-hand side is what's called a roll call. It goes up and down, and it rolls. It's basically a movable desk for the teachers to go around their classroom with. When I was going around, I saw a lot of teachers who either have some version of this already or have like manipulated something that sort of does the same thing. But this is a much nicer version of that. Welcome to the Heather Hill Teacher Lounge. The Teacher Lounge will be in the renovated section of the building in the middle where the current office is. We are looking to use that same color, blue, as will be on the chairs in most of the building and here, but we're also adding some punch of little color here, which I can pass around as well. Sorry, I could have gotten it. With some different kinds of seating arrangements and tables, etc. And then the Serena Hills Teacher Lounge looks a little different. There's not as much space there, so we're kind of playing with what we could do. But again, the tables will be new, the chairs will be new, they'll all be in the same kinds of fabrics and so on. We are trying to keep a relatively common palette across the buildings in case we need to move things from one building to the other, depending on the year. So the cost. We are going with Han. Han is the manufacturer. This work is through a state bidding contract that Warehouse Direct has been helping us with. So Warehouse Direct will actually do the order straight to Han using the pricing in that co-op from the state contract. So the list price on the Heather Hills furniture was, closing in on $900,000, but with the co-op pricing, we're at about $365,000. Serena Hills list was about $760,000, and the co-op pricing about $320,000, and the Normandy Villa work at about $58,000, and the co-op pricing down to almost $24,000 for a grand total of a little over $700,000 for these two buildings and Normandy Villa. That includes the shipping, the install, and the setup. The furniture will be arriving July the 28th. That is when we anticipate most of the construction will be done. So the construction has to be done. The cleaning crew needs to go through the first time. Then they will be putting furniture together in the gymnasiums and then going room by room. The furniture will literally come marked as to what room it goes to. They will do the setup, they will do the install, and then we'll have a cleaning crew come back again and just kind of clean up again briefly from whatever mess was made for the furniture install. And we are hoping to have all of that ready then by the third week of August for everyone to come in. Awesome. That's the game plan. Questions?
It's for like the adjustable height desks. How does Scott had a chance to look at these? Are they going to be easily repairable?
Well, I mean, they're metal
Sure.
to, the screw. I mean, you can take a look. He's seen them. He's
just
been
looking for
moving
it.
them around the district, so.
Our children are very,
I picked them to carry them in here and went, oh, this is a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be. So they're pretty sturdy. Scott?
I don't have any reservations about that.
Okay.
They're well-built, they're sturdy, so.
Fran, was there any conversation around doing a whiteboard desktop?
So we've had a lot of different conversations about the whiteboard. We are included in this price is also some ARC tables. You'll know them as the horseshoe. Horseshoes are actually, you kind of get into it more. The ARC is a little less depth in the middle. We're ordering whiteboard tops for a lot of those intervention spaces. What we found when we started putting them into classrooms like in the STEAM lab and elsewhere, first of all, they don't hold up very well. Second of all, they're extraordinarily expensive. And third of all, they tend to glare. So you get a lot of glares off of the whiteboard top in the classrooms. That's fair? Did I miss anything?
In fact, that was the first complaints we got from them was the glare within the first month of having them in place a few years ago. So,
And it would have added a serious increased price tag onto these two.
On the storage units for the classrooms, is there any concern about tip-over risk with those?
They're also pretty sturdy, and we're not putting them on casters.
Well, the image had them on casters, that's what,
Yeah, the only things going on casters are the teacher chairs. I believe, everything else, like we were talking about, do you want to put them on the desks? Nope, don't want them on the desks, don't want them on the tables. So, yeah, for the most part, there aren't casters allowed. Not a lot of casters at all.
2 questions, one serious, one not. I'll let you figure out which one is which. First is there any opportunity to change the color scheme to black and old gold and just exclude all of the blue?
No.
Okay.
I would support that, though, if there
I
was
would
a way.
support it as well.
Oh,
strongly.
no. I thought
Strongly.
you were going to ask for a confetti floor cushion, because that was going to be my question. I want a floor cushion.
I mean, they might throw one in. It doesn't hurt to ask, right? Other question is around the teacher desks / cabinets, around, I guess, their ability to lock and hold confidential files, student files,
Yeah,
records,
they
so
will
that
be
they can
lockable,
have.
and they'll be able to
Yep,
do those
all
things.
that.
Yes,
Okay.
that's one of the things that we wanted to make sure that they were able to do, is to lock some
Perfect.
things up. I will say we showed almost all of the teachers at both schools the styles of desks, and every one of them, hands down, 100% picked that one. So we did go to every classroom, talk to, I would say, 90% of the teachers. If I missed a teacher, it was either because they weren't there that day or that, they had something else going on, but we spoke to almost all of them, and discussed really what they felt like they needed in their rooms. So there's some bookshelves in here depending on the room and how much storage they had and what they needed. So what I gave you was really the splattering of what you're gonna see. In every single classroom, there are some one-off pieces for different spaces. But every space really in all of the classrooms, or all the schools, have been touched in some way, shape, form, or fashion, with the exception of the STEAM labs, because they're brand new.
Yeah, my rationale for that question was, just around just ensuring that all of the teachers have access and are able to store
Yep.
files around our diverse learner students and their ability to be able to reference something in short order without having to go somewhere else in order to play in their lesson. So
Yeah.
that you've answered my question thoroughly. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you, Fran. Next item on our agenda for discussion is the 25-26 school calendar.
Sure, kind of sticking with the construction theme, we do have a draft of it. We'll have that when we come back to our next meeting on December 16th. I've also met with superintendents of schools from Homewood 153 and HF High School 233 to review the start dates, winter holidays, spring breaks, et cetera. What you'll notice immediately about this calendar is that it breaks with tradition and it does not start with the high school. We're recommending that we push the start of the school year back for students all the way until August 25th. That is a Monday. We would bring our teachers back on the Wednesday before, have our 3 institute days, and then students would start on Monday and we would start the school year. The winter break and spring breaks align, so do all the major holidays. The only other difference in this calendar is that we do add 2 additional school improvement days. Right now we just have 2. We have one that's tied to Halloween, and then when we have one in the spring. This would add 1 per quarter, just to give us additional time with the teachers for school improvement planning, professional development, and collaborative work. If you see any opportunities to improve this contract, I am all ears. I feel like we've gone through it a number of different ways. But the challenge here is any cute business before the end of May means we will have to go into another week of June, which we know what that will do to our attendance and construction planning and all of those things. So we feel like we've taken a look at this from a number of different angles, but if there are opportunities for us to improve it or shift any dates around, we'll gladly do that. One anecdotal difference between this calendar and the one we just experienced, this year, obviously, we had the election holiday, so we paired a holiday with that. We had a 4-day break. We had an earlier 3-day weekend earlier in the calendar, being cute with some of our holidays. We just don't have the flexibility to do that with the way that the dates are aligned for this one. But we'll hopefully hear some good feedback from the FEA and the teachers when we meet with them next week, and then have a great recommendation for you on the 16th.
What was the rationale for pushing the start date?
With cleaning, assembling, installation, that pushes us minimum probably to that somewhere around the second week of August. And we do have wet days built in for, weather stopped construction essentially, but obviously mostly everything will be inside, so we expect that to be okay. We would just be worried about the exterior at Heather Hill, moving that office. But to really just to create more space to give us time to finish. So we know that we're starting at least some of this work over Casimir Pulaski, so I think that's a huge step for us. But just to give a little bit more buffer in our window, just to finish construction, get it cleaned, and get it ready for to welcome kids on the 25th.
Any other questions?
No.
Is there any other days where we're not aligned with the high school other than those first few days of the year?
I don't believe so. Everything else we matched up. Lincoln's birthday was one that the high school introduced a couple of years ago, which we all agreed to. Aside from their late starts, Courtney, can you think of anything else? Yes, 153 and 233 have built in Easter Monday for a day off after, obviously, we're aligned to spring break. For us, though, we would just resume school.
Okay, but no other days where high school kids are in, but the little ones are not?
No, but I will verify.
Okay.
Well, no, that's not true. At the start of the school year. So what we have to do is plan for our 8th graders who go to the high school to take courses.
Right.
So that was the original, now we're really going back in the Wayback Machine. In 2017, I think we started a week after the high school. 153 started 2 weeks after the high school. We ran into the issue where we were sending kids to high school classes, but we weren't in school yet, creating a lag between them getting there. So we aligned, that was our original step in aligning those calendars. I'll verify if there are any other days, but what we're focused on and what Amabel and her team are focused on is really those first 7, 8 days, 9 days, whatever that is, making sure that our kids have information, we know how we're getting them to school, how they're getting home, help the parents make plans for that, and go from there. But really, aside from the start of the school year, everything else should be aligned.
In one of our recent meetings, I think you commented that, if we had more institute days, we could maybe get some more of professional education done, professional learning.
Correct. So institute days, we worked hard through negotiations to get those, weren't as successful. That's why we see an opportunity to add the 2 school improvement half days to give us another, 4.5 hours of professional development with our teachers, opportunities to work across the district in grade level teams, et cetera. So this is our first step. We know that it's a challenge for working parents. I think that's why we would start with, just adding the additional 2, still below our connecting districts, but that should give us at least enough time, additional time we see moving forward. Also, we did negotiate the additional PLC time, professional learning community time, into the contract, which has helped us as well.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, Cam, I know we're kind of moving on to the next piece. The only other wiggle here would be to move an institute day down to that Easter Monday date. Where I struggle with that is it's so late in the year, it's really difficult to introduce any new learning certainly. And it really doesn't give us an opportunity to build on the learning that we did in those first 3 days where teachers could implement through the year. So that certainly could be an option for us. We would just prefer not to do it.
I agree with that.
Great. Good. All right, thank you for your feedback. I'll bring back the question just to make sure that we don't have any other days that are out there that we're not aligned with the high school. Let's see, in this week's board briefs that will go out to all of our parents, we're sharing this report as well, seeking feedback. So if there's anything wonky that they see, whether they're a current HF parent or a future parent who's really kind of digging into that contract, they can get us that feedback and we'll bring you any adjustments that come up.
So next we have our 2025-2026 staffing plan.
Hi. How we work on these projections is we start with our current enrollment in our sections, and then we roll it up. So if third grade has 2 sections, when we roll it up to fourth, we keep 2, and we might have to do some adjustments with teachers if there's 3 in that section. But we roll the grade levels up, and then we look at targets of class sizes of 20 for kindergarten, 22 for first and second and third, and 25 for fourth and fifth. And that's kind of the cap we look at where we consider adding an additional section if we are over that. And then kindergarten is a little trickier because we have to look at the 4-year trends, and then we also look at, Fran and I sit down and look at birth rates and try to make projections for kindergarten. So in doing that for next year, it actually has us across the elementary schools going down 3 sections overall. However, it does have us looking at 3 possible sections that we would be monitoring. Kindergarten at Western moves between 3 and 4 sections depending on enrollment. Serena Hills Kindergarten moves between 2 or 3 sections depending on enrollment. And Heather Hill third grade rolling up to 4th is looking at 25 and 25. So that would be right at the cap. Whereas students register, if it pushed it more, we would want the ability to open a 3rd section with the board's approval of this staffing plan. So we monitor that over the summer. We call families. Kindergarten, we do a March registration and try to get families in. We send postcards and try to advertise to try to get as close of a registration enrollment number in the summer as we can so we can have projections. But this is what we would be looking at. And then, of course, for Parker, we roll up our 5th grades into 6th and then roll those grades up to look at Parker projections. Any questions about that? Thoughts?
We did adjust the number that we use for just budgeting purposes to $75,000 inclusive of salary and benefits. So overall, if everything holds, we would have a decrease in 3 FTE, which is good news to the budget. But we are asking, once this does come for a vote, to approve the decrease, but also give us the ability to hold those 3 positions kind of on the bench, monitor the numbers, and then if we do see that we would need to open a section, if we have approval for those, then we can get those jobs posted right away, as opposed to having to wait until our next board meeting. This is the process that we've used in the past. I think last year was 1.
Yeah, and we're usually pretty close. And then also around January, I asked teachers if they have any wishes for transferring and what their goals and aspirations are career-wise. So when sections do open up like that, if someone wants kindergarten, then we know that, and of course we.
Dr. Is actually consistent with what you just said around flexibility, and of course, I'm sure everyone would enjoy a savings. However, if there are some trouble areas or areas that we would like to focus on, where smaller class sizes might be better for interventions, or we just want to do better in a particular area or class at a given school, I would want you to have that level of flexibility in order to potentially handle a need. So you addressed that in that comment, but I do want to make sure that that's noted for the comment.
Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, we really struggle with space on top of these. We were really overall, we could probably add 3 classes total before maxing out most of our space without cannibalizing those specials rooms. So this does give us a lot of flexibility, and one of the conversations we have, particularly around Heather Hill, for example, well, yeah, we can start those classrooms there, but that means they're closed. And so personally, and I think I share this with the team, we're not looking at a family who registers in March or April saying that you can't go to your neighborhood school because you're moving in and the building is just closed at that point. So this gives us the flexibility to really kind of respond to our community members, really keep track of those numbers, make sure that we're just, like you said, as we are moving forward with inclusion, as we're moving forward with different programs, making sure that we can keep our classroom numbers at a level that allows our teachers to do a great job.
And then in addition, we do consider our instructional special education classrooms and that those students push in during specials. So right now, that's housed at Heather Hill and Serena Hills, so we have to watch those numbers too, so we don't get too many students in art, PE, music, or homeroom. All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Haley.
Thank you.
Next, we have our city year update.
Welcome, Amabel.
With our partnership with City Year through the AmeriCorps program, we have been really enjoying having our City Year team at Parker. Principal Paris and her team has done a wonderful job collaborating with the City Year team members, and I think we would all say that they're really making a positive impact in the school and contributing to Parker's success. We are also the first school district outside of the city of Chicago to have a City Year partnership on site, which is really exciting. And just seeing our team members get acclimated in the building and get to know their students has been really exciting. So this is our City Year team. You recall City Year is a program that places 8 young people between the ages of 18 and 24 to do a year of service, giving back in schools. So these are individuals who may be taking a gap year, they may be taking a year before they start their next educational program, and they are with us the full day, all through the week. They are not on site on Fridays, they have trainings, but Monday through Thursday, they are with us from the start of school until the end of school, and they work with students and with our teachers and on school-wide initiatives throughout the day. And I don't have the clicker, I'm sorry. Thank you, Courtney. So just to recap, some of the things that City Year members do, there's sort of 2 things. They work in small groups and with individualized support with students, and then they also focus on school-wide initiatives, which we'll discuss a little bit further in the presentation. The small group support is really to help them make an impact on their focus list of students. Each core member has a list of students that they are identified with in partnership with the administration. Those students get individual check-ins with the City Year members as well as individual academic support throughout the week. That is so important to making sure that the impact that our City Year team members are having is personalized and that those connections are meaningful and deep. They also connect with the families of the students on their focus list. So just getting back to some of the conversations that we've had around combating chronic absenteeism, City Year provides another layer of connection and personalization to make sure that we're improving that. Our core members are also partnered with a Parker teacher, so they are in a classroom for the majority of the school day. This is also an important part of the program because we want them to have guidance and modeling and support. A lot of core members end up becoming future teachers or educators further down the line, and so this partnership is really important. We can go, I covered some of that. There we go. Again, the daily check-ins and support that our City Year team members provide to students is really the core of the work. Right now, the City Year team members work with about 80 students, and that's divided up between each of those core members. And again, they're getting daily one-on-one support as well as small group support with that student. One of the things that we're using City Year as a support for is to be able to combat the chronic absenteeism. So we know that there are about 33 of those 80 kids that are really on the cusp of, if the trend continues, they will reach chronic absenteeism. So we know that we have time to intervene right now to help work with City Year and work with their teachers to help combat that. So that's one of the things that they support us with. The other part of the City Year work is school-wide support. The team members do like welcomes when the kids come in the morning. They're there to greet. It's red jackets everywhere and just supporting as we start school. They also do attendance rallies and incentives to help support the overall school-wide attendance incentives. They recently did a staff-on-staff basketball game, City Year versus students basketball game, which was only for students who reached the 90th percentile or 90% or higher attendance. And if I recall, Principal Paris, the kids won, yes? No, the kids did not win. Sorry, kids. Tried to throw you a line there. They did not. But we had some staff members thrown in there, too, that helped carry the game forward. But those kinds of events are so important, and they're something that City Year is unique to the program because we have 8 young people that are connected to what the kids would really want to see. They're able to sort of engage the students in different ways than our teachers or administrators may be able to do, and just really provide exciting opportunities to get our kids excited about being at school. They've done other things like delivering popcorn treats to classrooms with 90 percentile of attendance or higher, and just really making it exciting and fun to be at school. So we're really appreciative of their support and know that that will continue throughout the school year. I think that's it. Okay, any questions? Total of the program is $130,000 for the school year. We paid for it through a combination of grant funding, which should we continue with that in next school year, we would continue using grant funding.
So we kind of pay for it, but we're paying for it with somebody else's money.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, and Parker is our school that has, receives the largest amount of Title I funding. So it is only for Parker Junior High School.
So even though it's grant money, $130,000 is a significant investment. Is
Yes.
this the best place for us to throw $130,000 at?
Yeah, I think if we were to look at it from the perspective of finding 8 individuals that could provide the same type of support, I think we'd see the cost benefit alone there. The other part of it is that these young people also receive training that we do not provide. They receive training on how to de-escalate situations, training on how to connect with families, how to really target the right type of support to students in a comprehensive way that is really invaluable, and we would not provide that on an individual basis.
Further questions, Trey?
Yeah, I'm just considering some of the earlier conversations around City Year, and I'm very familiar with the program, a huge fan, huge proponent. So, I know that they're really great at creating relationships
Yes.
with students, and I know that you discussed in another meeting, them being placed in specific spaces that they would, obviously have the biggest impact. So I guess my question is when we think about their value add to the space, have we seen in those spaces specifically, like almost if we extracted these spaces out where they're, having this impact, have we seen increased attendance? Have we seen increased GPA? Have we seen a decrease in undesired behaviors?
Absolutely.
Those kinds of things, because I know that that's kind of their deal. Have we seen evidence of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think on thinking back to some of our earlier conversations, the really first key point is making sure that our city year team members are partnered with teachers who are motivated and encouraged to develop and nurture that relationship. And I think we have an incredible set of teachers working with our city year team members. Our teachers who have team members in their classroom are really grateful for the support. They're not sort of just there observing. They're getting in there with a small group. They're working with students. They're helping to manage some of those behaviors also. To be clear, they are not teachers. They are not taking over the classroom. That is not part of the plan. They are there to support and engage students throughout the day. In addition to that, going back to those 80 students that are on the focus list, it's a little early to start tracking the grades because we're still just in the infancy of standards-based grading, but we will look at that when we bring our back data report for the second quarter. But for example, earlier in the presentation, I noted that of those 80 students, because we have city year, we know that 33 of them have 3 or more absences so far in the school year. So if that trend continues, we know that those students will be chronically absent. So some of those students, in a lot of cases, they probably would be further along on the path towards chronic absenteeism if they were not working closely with a city year partner to call their families, connect with them, make sure their parents know that we need you at school and make those connections. So now's the time that we can look at that data and say, okay, what else do we need to do to support our city year partners and making sure that those students don't continue to miss school. So it's that kind of data that helps us know if it's effective. Also just, as we look at the overall decline in behavior and major incidents at Parker, I think we'd have to take out the city year students and, without sort of revealing who they are, run the report on them. But I think overall, what we know is that there's a sharp decline in behavior incidents, both major and minor at Parker, and city year is an added layer supporting with that.
Are they involved at all in any of the AVID classes?
They are, yes. The AVID class, there are between 8 and 10 AVID students who are assigned with the city year partner, and that is through both combined 6th through 8th grade, and there is a city year team member working with the AVID class.
Do they do tutorials in AVID?
They do, yes. They are not all of them are doing tutorials because we do have to provide different training and just certifications and things for that. But they are working with the AVID teacher in the AVID class.
This came to us from a parent, I guess colleague now, Mikel Palmer-Pratt, who's just an absolute supporter of this community, of our kids. Had an opportunity to share this information with Amabel and I. That's why we brought it last spring. We were just really thrilled overall with the program. But this board can expect that we will bring back data as we make the next recommendation on our end. Certainly this will come maybe March or April, as we're setting our plans for next year. And at that point, we'll have the attendance information, other bag data, any other indicators that will help tell the story so we can make an informed decision on how we want to move forward.
Yeah, I think, Cam's question, which I think is the foundation is like, all right, well, so what are the indicators that, that this money, regardless of where it's coming from, is, well spent? And I'm very interested in looking forward to that wonderful story.
Yeah, and we are monitoring our city year students in ECRA just as we do any of our other programs. So the same as when we bring back data on return on investment for Elevate or our other programs, city year is now part of that. So we'll be able to see the trends on that.
Thank you, Amabel.
Thank you.
So that ends our discussion items. Any questions on the information items on the agenda tonight? All right. So we don't need an executive session. Are you sure you guys don't want to hang out here and talk about some more stuff? If not, a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great
I think
night.
Liz did an amazing job.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Carolyn. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Taking one for the team.
Appreciate
I
that.
appreciate you after a long day.
Long day, not to sign things. Oh my goodness.
30.